You won't believe the controversy that's rocking social media right now. Kayla Nicole, once a rising media personality, is under fire as old tweets resurface. Tweets that targeted multiple communities, including LGBTQ+, Hispanics, Asians, and even Black women. She's issued a heartfelt apology, deleted her Twitter, and claimed she's grown. But is it genuine? Some fans are convinced she's learned from her mistakes, while others say her actions tell a different story. From Halloween drama to public feuds with celebrities, this is a controversy full of contradictions, accountability, and questions of authenticity. Stick around, because we're breaking down every shocking moment, her apology, and the truth behind the backlash. After a period of mounting criticism and public scrutiny, Kayla Nicole finally issued a formal apology in the wake of a heated controversy involving Taylor Swift fans, widely known as Swifties. The incident began when fans dug into her social media history and uncovered a series of old tweets that were offensive and hurtful, targeting multiple communities, including LGBTQ+ individuals, Hispanics, Asians, Indians, and particularly Black women. The resurfacing of these tweets quickly drew widespread attention and backlash, sparking heated debates across social media platforms and traditional media outlets alike. Many people were shocked not only by the content of the tweets but also by the realization that someone who had positioned herself as a media personality and influencer could have expressed such harmful sentiments in the past. This discovery served as a stark reminder of how online behavior, even from years ago, can resurface and affect a person's reputation, particularly in an era when social media histories are often meticulously archived and scrutinized. In response to the public outcry, Kayla took the significant step of deleting her Twitter account, signaling her acknowledgement of the situation and her desire to take accountability. Alongside this, she released a detailed, heartfelt apology, which reflected on her past behavior and sought to explain the growth and personal development she claims to have undergone since those tweets were posted. In her statement, she openly admitted that her previous comments were ignorant, harmful, and completely wrong. She expressed deep shame for having ever thought or expressed such views and emphasized that the individual she is today would never condone or use such language. By doing so, she aimed to distance her current persona from the person she had been at the time the tweets were written, highlighting a journey of self-reflection and change. Central to Kayla's apology was an acknowledgement of the broader impact that online hate and insensitive remarks can have on communities. She recognized that words have power, particularly when amplified by social media, and stressed the importance of empathy, love, and respect in shaping one's interactions with others. She explicitly took full responsibility for her actions, reiterating that she could not change the past but was committed to demonstrating through her present and future behavior the values she now embodies. Her apology also attempted to contextualize the mistakes she made, noting that she had been younger, less informed, and unaware of the lasting harm her words could cause. This framing is significant because it reflects a common narrative in public apologies, where individuals seek to illustrate personal growth and evolution while maintaining accountability for past actions. Despite the sincerity of her apology, reactions were mixed. Some people accepted her statement as genuine and appreciated her willingness to publicly take responsibility. These supporters argued that her acknowledgement of wrongdoing, paired with a commitment to growth, demonstrated maturity and a recognition of the consequences of her actions. Others, however, were more skeptical, pointing out that apologies alone are insufficient without tangible evidence of change. Critics questioned whether her words aligned with her actions, highlighting instances where her behavior in public life seemed inconsistent with the values she expressed in her apology. For instance, some observers noted that while she publicly advocates for the protection and upliftment of Black women, certain past actions, such as personal disputes or public behavior, appeared to contradict this stated principle, raising concerns about selective accountability and the authenticity of her advocacy. The controversy also sparked broader conversations about the nature of social media accountability and the enduring impact of past behavior. In today's digital age, public figures are often held responsible for remarks made years prior, regardless of how much they may have grown or changed since then. This raises challenging questions about redemption, forgiveness, and the degree to which a person's current character should be evaluated against their historical actions. Kayla Nicole's situation illustrates this tension vividly. While she expresses remorse and claims to have evolved, the resurfacing of her tweets forced a public reckoning and ignited debates about how society should balance accountability with the possibility of personal growth. Furthermore, her case highlights the complexity of online culture and the challenges that public figures face in navigating it. The scrutiny she faced demonstrates how quickly social media history can be weaponized in conflicts, whether between fans, celebrities, or critics. It also underscores the heightened expectations placed on influencers, who are often seen as role models and held to standards that extend beyond ordinary private behavior. Kayla's apology, therefore, was not just a response to personal criticism but also a strategic acknowledgement of the social dynamics at play, emphasizing her awareness of both the moral and reputational stakes involved. Ultimately, Kayla Nicole's apology can be seen as a multifaceted attempt to reconcile past mistakes with present identity. It reflects an awareness of the harm caused by her words, a desire to demonstrate personal growth, and an effort to communicate accountability and remorse in a public setting. The mixed reactions to her apology illustrate the difficulty of achieving consensus on matters of public redemption and highlight how complex the process of rebuilding trust can be after public missteps. While some may continue to scrutinize her actions and question her sincerity, the apology itself serves as a documented acknowledgement of wrongdoing and a stated commitment to better behavior moving forward. In this way, her experience offers insight into the challenges of navigating public accountability in the age of social media, where the past is never truly buried, and where genuine change must be consistently demonstrated through actions as well as words. In summary, after considerable public backlash over resurfaced offensive tweets, Kayla Nicole issued a detailed apology that acknowledged her ignorance and the harm caused by her past statements. She expressed shame, claimed personal growth, and emphasized her commitment to empathy, love, and respect. While opinions on the sincerity and sufficiency of her apology vary, the situation sparked important conversations about accountability, redemption, and the ongoing influence of social media in shaping public perception. Her case underscores the tension between past behavior and present identity and highlights the challenges individuals face in demonstrating authentic growth in a world where online actions remain permanently accessible. Kayla Nicole has expressed that she has grown since those old tweets, emphasizing that she's learned more about empathy, accountability, and the impact of her words, and she is genuinely sorry to anyone she may have hurt. While the apology seems heartfelt, true growth isn't measured by words alone. It's reflected in consistent actions moving forward. The situation also sparked broader discussions, as some tried to frame it through racial or political lenses, comparing her to public figures like Charlie Kirk, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, or even politicians, who have all faced criticism for problematic behavior that often goes unaddressed. Yet, the key point is that those individuals are not the focus here. This is about Kayla Nicole. Many of her most offensive tweets targeted Black women, making her accountability especially crucial. While debates swirl about fairness and selective scrutiny, the central issue remains her own responsibility and the need to demonstrate genuine change beyond apologies. The controversy surrounding Kayla Nicole brings to light a much deeper issue that goes beyond isolated incidents and highlights a fundamental tension between words and actions. While she publicly asserts that she supports, uplifts, and protects Black women, a message that resonates with many in her audience, critics have pointed out numerous instances in which her past behavior seems to contradict these claims. These inconsistencies have fueled skepticism about the authenticity of her advocacy, raising difficult questions about whether her public statements are reflective of genuine values or are primarily performative. One particularly notable example occurred during her appearance on the Angel Reese podcast, where she recounted being replaced by Iman Schubert in a relationship. What followed was a series of actions that many observers viewed as petty and cruel. Kayla reportedly dressed up as Tiana Taylor, the person who had replaced her, for Halloween. While she may have intended this as a joke or a form of personal expression, it was widely perceived as a deliberate dig at someone who had no knowledge of the situation. This behavior, according to critics, starkly contradicted her stated mission of supporting Black women, as it came across as an act of personal vindictiveness rather than empowerment or solidarity. The optics of such actions are important because they create a disconnect between the image Kayla seeks to project and the reality of her behavior. When public figures claim to advocate for a community but then act in ways that seem harmful, insensitive, or petty, it undermines the credibility of their message and invites scrutiny from both critics and supporters. In Kayla's case, this tension is magnified by her high-profile interactions with other celebrities, including Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. In these contexts, she has emphasized the importance and value of Black women, but critics argue that this messaging often appears selective and strategically deployed, potentially for sympathy, attention, or social leverage. Such selective advocacy, where the promotion of values seems contingent on personal gain or circumstance, leads observers to question whether the principles she publicly endorses are truly internalized or are being used as a rhetorical tool to navigate social dynamics in her favor. Adding further complexity, some critics point out that Kayla's public persona sometimes frames her as a victim in interracial dynamics, which again intersects with questions of selective advocacy. For instance, in discussions about her relationships with men from different racial backgrounds, she has occasionally emphasized perceived injustices or slights, positioning herself as someone who deserves empathy or support based on racial identity. While raising awareness of personal experiences is valid, the problem arises when such framing appears inconsistent with her broader claims of supporting and celebrating Black women. Observers note that when advocacy is selectively applied or leveraged to advance personal narratives, it risks being perceived as performative, opportunistic, or even hypocritical. This perception can significantly undermine trust, particularly in communities where authenticity and lived experience are highly valued. Another aspect of this controversy is the role of public memory and the permanence of social media actions. In today's digital age, past behavior is rarely forgotten, and actions that contradict a stated mission are quickly scrutinized and amplified. Kayla's Halloween actions, her recounting of personal relationship disputes, and her selective expressions of solidarity with Black women are all part of a public record that allows critics to assess the consistency between her words and deeds. In this sense, her experience serves as a broader case study on how the public evaluates authenticity, accountability, and personal growth in the context of social media and celebrity culture. Audiences are increasingly attuned to discrepancies between what public figures say and what they do, and they often expect alignment between stated values and observable behavior. This scrutiny also raises important questions about the nature of redemption and public perception. While it is reasonable to acknowledge that people can grow and learn from past mistakes, genuine growth is typically demonstrated through consistent, observable actions over time rather than through statements alone. Critics argue that in Kayla's case, her claimed evolution must be measured against her history of behavior, particularly actions that appear at odds with her stated values. The gap between advocacy and behavior is what fuels skepticism, suggesting that words alone, no matter how eloquent or apologetic, are insufficient to establish credibility or rebuild trust. Ultimately, the controversy surrounding Kayla Nicole highlights the broader challenges that public figures face when navigating personal growth, accountability, and public perception. It underscores the difficulty of reconciling past behavior with present identity, especially when prior actions are preserved in the public sphere and scrutinized extensively. Observers are left to grapple with questions about authenticity. Can someone who has acted in ways that contradict their stated mission genuinely advocate for community? Does personal growth require observable behavioral change, or are words enough to signify evolution? Kayla's experience illustrates that public advocacy is a delicate balance between intention and action, and that credibility is built not only on what one says, but on how consistently those words are reflected in behavior over time. In summary, Kayla Nicole's situation serves as a revealing example of the tension between public statements and personal behavior. While she claims to uplift and protect Black women, instances such as her actions on the Angel Reese podcast and her selective framing of racial identity in interpersonal conflicts cast doubt on the authenticity of her advocacy. Critics argue that these inconsistencies highlight a broader challenge for public figures. Sustaining credibility requires alignment between words and actions, consistent demonstration of values, and the ability to earn trust through repeated, meaningful behavior. Kayla's controversy thus sparks larger conversations about accountability, authenticity, and the complex interplay between public image and personal conduct in the digital age. The controversy around Kayla Nicole underscores how inconsistent actions can undermine public statements. While she claims to advocate for and protect Black women, her past behavior tells a different story. Critics point to moments like her Halloween costume of Tiana Taylor, who had replaced her in a relationship, as petty and insensitive, despite Kayla portraying herself as supportive of Black women. This contradiction extends to her public persona. As Travis Kelce's ex and a media personality trying to stay relevant, some argue that her comments and controversies are calculated to maintain attention rather than reflect genuine growth. Her old tweets, which targeted Asians, Hispanics, the LGBTQ+ community, and Black people, resurfaced amid her feud with Taylor Swift and her fans, revealing offensive and hurtful sentiments from years ago. While she has issued an apology, acknowledging past mistakes, critics stress that true accountability requires more than words. It demands consistent, demonstrable change that aligns with the values she claims to uphold. Kayla Nicole's past controversies continue to paint a complicated picture of her character. She had public issues with figures like Vanessa Bryant and even made tweets hinting at attraction to taken men, confessing that competition made them more appealing, a sentiment echoed by her Halloween costume of Tiana Taylor, which many saw as petty and vindictive. While some argue that everyone makes mistakes, critics question whether her current persona truly reflects growth or political posturing, especially given her selective advocacy for Black women. Observers also note that her media presence, podcast, and attempts at relevance often seem driven by attention rather than substantive achievement. Now in her mid-30s, no longer in the spotlight of high-profile relationships, and without major industry influence, some see her as struggling to carve out independent value. This context, they argue, frames her actions as attempts to stay relevant, highlighting a tension between past behaviors and present aspirations, and leaving questions about whether her growth and apologies are authentic or strategic. Critics have increasingly argued that Kayla Nicole's future appears uncertain, primarily because much of her current focus seems to revolve around chasing sponsorships, brand deals, and fleeting moments of online attention rather than building a foundation of lasting value. In the world of social media and celebrity culture, this approach can be tempting. Partnerships with brands and visibility-driven opportunities can offer immediate gratification and short-term fame. However, while these opportunities can boost visibility temporarily, critics suggest that they do not necessarily translate into genuine influence or a sustainable career. The concern is that, without the development of skills, creative output, or meaningful contributions that resonate on a deeper level, such strategies are unlikely to secure long-term relevance in a highly competitive media landscape. In stark contrast, other public figures such as Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are often highlighted as examples of how sustained relevance is built through a combination of talent, consistent effort, and tangible achievements. Travis Kelce, as a professional athlete, has demonstrated excellence and dedication in his sport, while Taylor Swift has developed a remarkable career not only as a musician but also as a cultural influencer who shapes trends, addresses societal issues, and maintains a strong connection with her fan base. Their careers illustrate the principle that lasting influence comes from actions that provide value, impact, and inspiration to others. People admire them not just for their public appearances or social media presence, but for the concrete contributions they make in their respective fields. This comparison underscores the argument that visibility alone is not sufficient to maintain credibility, influence, or cultural significance. For Kayla Nicole, the perception among critics is that her current trajectory leans heavily on superficial markers of relevance, such as social media engagement, podcast appearances, or provocative content that generates short-term discussion. While these methods can create spikes in attention, they may not provide the depth or substance that audiences increasingly seek. In an era where authenticity and meaningful content are highly valued, the ability to deliver real value, through storytelling, advocacy, or skillful engagement, is often what distinguishes fleeting fame from sustained influence. Critics argue that, despite her media presence and social interactions, Kayla has yet to demonstrate consistent contributions that have a lasting impact or create genuine connections with audiences beyond the momentary spectacle. Another concern raised is the perception that her pursuit of brand deals and sponsorships may not be matched by a proportional return in value. In other words, while she may secure opportunities to partner with companies or promote products, critics suggest that her involvement does not always translate into substantial or meaningful outcomes for those brands. This could indicate a misalignment between visibility and effectiveness, which can undermine credibility over time. By comparison, figures like Taylor Swift not only attract partnerships but also reinforce her brand and cultural significance through tangible achievements, musical artistry, and thoughtful engagement with her audience. Travis Kelce, similarly, adds value by consistently performing at an elite level in his sport while cultivating a personal brand that resonates with fans. These contrasts highlight the potential risks for individuals who rely primarily on attention-driven strategies without grounding their public persona in demonstrable achievement. Furthermore, observers note that looking attractive or generating initial buzz is insufficient to secure long-term relevance. While appearances and curated online personas can draw attention, critics emphasize that lasting impact requires consistent action, meaningful content, and authentic engagement. In Kayla Nicole's case, while she has built a degree of visibility and a platform, some argue that she has not yet fully leveraged it to create substantive influence. The concern is that relying too heavily on attention-seeking behavior, rather than initiatives that produce measurable or lasting results, may lead to a career that is precarious and unstable. Audiences, particularly in today's digital landscape, are increasingly critical and discerning, and they often reward substance over spectacle. The trajectory of Kayla Nicole's career also raises questions about how public figures balance personal branding with tangible contributions. Observers suggest that an overemphasis on sponsorships, visibility, and engagement metrics can create pressure to maintain constant public attention, which may distract from the development of skills, creativity, or professional expertise. In this sense, the pursuit of short-term gains could undermine long-term potential if it comes at the expense of authentic growth, learning, or contribution. Comparisons to peers like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift reinforce this point. Both have maintained relevance and admiration not solely through visibility, but by consistently delivering work, performances, and public engagement that are meaningful and valued by their audiences. Ultimately, critics argue that Kayla Nicole's path forward may be precarious if it continues to rely on fleeting attention rather than building substantive contributions that resonate over time. Without developing a portfolio of meaningful work or demonstrating consistent value to her audience, she risks being perceived as someone whose presence is dependent on transient trends or controversy rather than lasting achievement. In an environment where attention is abundant but credibility is scarce, those who cannot combine visibility with meaningful impact may struggle to maintain relevance over the long term. The consensus among observers is that for her to secure a sustainable future, she would need to shift her focus from chasing immediate attention to cultivating tangible contributions, demonstrating authenticity, and providing value that extends beyond ephemeral moments of social media engagement. In summary, while Kayla Nicole has achieved a degree of visibility through brand deals and public appearances, critics contend that her future remains uncertain due to a perceived over-reliance on attention-driven strategies. Unlike figures such as Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, who build lasting influence through skill, achievement, and authentic engagement, her approach is seen as insufficiently grounded in meaningful value. The path ahead, observers suggest, requires more than appearances and viral moments. It demands consistent action, genuine contributions, and efforts that demonstrate lasting impact. Without such a shift, the concern is that her relevance may remain fragile, dependent on fleeting attention rather than substantive accomplishments that resonate with audiences over time.